Hello and welcome to the Full Figured Interviews, where we talk to some of the incredible people in our Full Figured community. I'm James.
And I'm Tim, so let's get into it.
So today we are speaking with the Full Figured Industry Awards 2024 Best Boutique winner, CEO of LiviRae Lingerie, Molly Hopkins.
Hello, gentlemen. You're looking quite dapper with your fluff and stuff. I love a good bearded boy, honey. And it's ginger. Come on, that's my natural hair color up under all the dye.
Ooh, talk to me more about this. Thank you.
I mean, that's what they say. Red in the head, fire in the hole. I'm not real sure. I mean,
And that is the title of this week's episode. Woo! Miss Molly. Oh my goodness. And baby, you are looking fantastic tonight. Let's not deny it. You look incredible, Miss Thing.
Thank you. Well, I tried to just dapper up a little bit for you guys. And always I like to come doing. I've got days where I don't have makeup on and my hair's aloof, but I feel like when you look better, you feel better and you perform better. And I'm in the industry of beauty. And so we got to do it for ourselves sometimes.
Oh my goodness. Girl, I think we're going to have a cracker conversation today. So listen, babes, are you ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
Ah, wonderful. Now listen, for anyone who may be watching who does not know you, what is the first thing you want viewers to know about you?
I am Southern by the grace of God. Georgia born and raised, big boobs my entire life, and I have spent most of my life, which I'll be 50 this year, really trying to help women find their self and feel sexy. And I've been able to do that through a variety of ways. And I own a very wildly successful lingerie store located north of Atlanta called LiviRae Lingerie, where no bust is too big or small. We fit them all.
Oh, I like that. I love a neat tagline. That's fantastic. I mean, we've obviously got plenty of questions about the lingerie as it is. But no, that's fantastic. And, as a person who, serves people of all sizes, I'd be curious to know for you, how did you come to find the love and pride that you have for your body?
Honestly, it took a while. I grew up really trying to cover up. Because being raised in a very God-fearing Southern Baptist church household with a father who was hellfire and brimstone and don't do that, don't show that, you can't dance, your boobs are too big, I was ashamed. And no one in my school had boobs, and most of the girls around me were super thin or super blonde, and I didn't look like everyone else. And so, but I had a heart for people. And coming from a small town where there weren't that many Black people in my school, there weren't that many gay people, there weren't that many different people, I just was a chameleon to everyone based on that upraising in the church. And I'll never forget my dad telling me, you should open up a humane society because you take in all the strays. And I thought to myself, if that's the one thing I learned from having church shoved down my throat, was to love people for who they are, irrespective of their size, their race, their sex, their whatever, their love interest, I've learned and walked away with something very amazing. And when I started garnering more attention from guys, I guess, and some females, when I got older, I realized that my boobs held power, and that standing up straight and walking in a room, and that when you love yourself, you can own any situation. And I just wish that I had learned that early on versus later, because now my goal is to give that back to women, and whether they're 18 or 80. So I started learning how to love myself, because it wasn't just about my boobs, even though they were the star of the show and the first thing that entered the room. It was also about how I love on people, my energy, my personality. And so I knew I had something special to give to people who were feeling a way that I did in these dressing rooms and just in life.
I feel like so often in the plus size space, there is an expectation that we arrive fully formed, meaning when we rock up in the plus size space, we are full of confidence, full of self-love, and we've got it all nailed down. But Baby, I think a lot of us have a lot of unpacking that we need to do. And I think it's beautiful that you express a sense of, you know, you just got to love on people for where they are at that given time. They may be somewhere different 10 years down the road. We're not worried about 10 years down the road. We're looking at people right here, right now, today. Where are you at?
Well, I also think that it depends on who's in your vibe tribe, right? Like, so when I went to college, I was blessed to have a very full-figured country black girl as my roommate, and we were going to go out one night. And I was like, "No, I can't go to a club. I don't have anything to wear. I'm too big. I'm too this." And she's like, ma'am." So she helped me with my confidence. And so I began to surround myself around women who really loved themselves in spite of it all, weren't, over here trying to nitpick a salad. If they wanted a salad, they ate a salad. But if they wanted cheeseburger, fries, ice cream, they did that too, right? And I really attribute my self-confidence to being around so many powerful sisters in a mid-size and full-figured size, because they love themselves so much. And I thought, if these women who are full-figured and also brown-skinned, and they've been ridiculed and talked about and shunned for so long, can love themselves in spite of the society, then I need to be around that energy. But I also know what my soul was feeling and how I was being poured into by amazing women that were like, "Girl, you're super dope. We love you. Come on," And so I began to adapt that, but also give it to other people and my friends or my cousins who are like this big. And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You have back fat. Where is it?" And trying to understand what we were bred to believe is the societal norm. And I finally hit a safe space with me for like how I feel comfortable. I mean, I was fine, thick 50 pounds ago, but my knee was hurting and I couldn't wear my heels and I didn't feel well. So I decided I was going to get healthier. It wasn't because I'm like, oh, I need to be of diet culture. It was of, I need to feel better. So, but you're right. I mean, like, and that's what we do here at LiviRae. The following words are not allowed: fat, old, ugly, or I used to be. So it goes back to you saying, where are we today? Where are we right now? If there's things we want to do to feel better or do better, then by all means, we're going to advocate for that. But what can we do today to love ourselves in the space that we are in order to create a sense of self? Maybe I do want to change this. Now I feel good enough today. Because if you don't love yourself today where you are, you're not going to have that self thing that says, okay, you want to make a change, let's go do it. You're still going to mellow in the self-loathing. And I think that we don't bond enough, or I think that we don't get with people who are all on the same journey.
I know that you said that you've forbidden the word fat at LiviRae, but what's your relationship to other like euphemisms for fat? Because some of them have taken on more positive connotations over the years: curvy, voluptuous, thick. How do you feel about?
I think when I talk about, thickness or curves, or, I talk about, I think it's a little different in my space because I get women to take their clothes off in front of me as complete strangers. And they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so fat." I'm like, girl. I try to turn it into like a conversation or a comedic approach where they're like, or even girls who are thicker or a little bit bigger. I know some people be like, "Oh, you got a big back." Okay, so maybe we're not Kias over here and we're, classic Buicks. We don't know, but I just try to say, well, this is where we're at, and I don't really try to use a word, but even though we say, because I think that unless it's PHAT fat, I think that there is such a negative stigma on fat. It is what it is, but we have adopted those words. Yeah, girl, you thick, you curvy, you're this, you're juicy. I'm working on a custom corset right now for a girl who's real full figured, real full bust, and she's headed to a rodeo. And she said she wants her corset to say juicy. I said, you are juicy. You're very juicy. I think it's like, what do people think feels good. And there are some people who are very like, we're going to call it what it is. I'm so fat. And I'm like, well, maybe not. Some women think they're fat that really are very curvy. Maybe you have a little extra body fat. It doesn't mean we got to call it that. Like, you know, I just try not to use any words here, and I've adapted that over time, not just from a selling standpoint, but just from a telling standpoint. Like, we're not going to bring in any negative stuff here because they already walk into me that way. So sometimes I just grab it. I'm like, you talking about this?
Yeah. You know,
what mine is
Tim and I talk about this sometimes. You know, we're both queer men. There is a conversation around the reclamation of verbiage and, you know, where it's appropriate to say. And, you know, Tim and I, you know, amongst ourselves, like words that we feel comfortable using for our own sakes. But, you know, you also hold that in tandem of realizing not everyone else is at that place. And actually, that point again about meeting people where they're at, if someone isn't comfortable using the term fat, maybe we won't say that. Maybe we will find another workaround to that, and maybe there's a conversation for the individual on how they need to process that and move forward on their journey of self-love and self-acceptance. But again, that moment of right there in the moment, and as you say, having women in a position that must feel very vulnerable to be, you know, needing to be fitted and all of those things, you know, care for the individual must be tantamount in the moment. I'd be curious to know, like, where do you feel like you cultivated that sense of sensitivity in particular, and knowing how to hold people in a way that they feel safe?
Honestly, I think I always flash back to moments where I was teased or I was called the hunchback of Notre Dame because the stools at the lunchroom, you couldn't really sit up straight, or I would always sit like this because I didn't want to be like this. And then I remember the moment when I won a pageant in school and our librarian was like, oh, she won because of her cleavage. And then one of the other teachers was like, she would have cleavage in a turtleneck. Leave her alone. She won because people love her because she's kind, you know, and I didn't fit the mold of the homecoming queen, yet I won because people love me. I think I flashed back to moments where I felt very insecure about myself and not owning who I was, or when I was being interviewed for ETV, or there was a stylist on set for the television show and they come in with these designer clothes and it's a 14, and I'm like, well, that's great, I am a 14, but my bust is a 22, and they're trying to tell me try it on, and I'm like, it's not going on. You know, just understanding body types and shapes and knowing what fabrics lend themselves, so that I'm not trying to allow someone to try something on that was never going to go on, because that adds insult to injury, because lingerie is so size different. Or even when we buy fast fashion and we buy a 3X because we think we're a 3X and we get it and it's a 3. You know what I'm saying? From all these brands. So I've worked very, very hard to establish the difference between full figure, full bust, you know, all these things. And I just know, and I automatically know before a woman ever tells me, or men, because I have them as well, the areas that they may not be in love with, because they don't know me, but immediately they'll do this, or they're like apprehensive to take the shirt off, or they wanted the robe on. And there's a lot that can happen when you gently touch someone on their shoulder. The transfer of energy that comes from me that lets them know it's going to be okay. And whether they're young and they're scared. Sorry, my hair was stuck to my porn star lipstick.
Oh my goodness, don't you apologize for just getting another chance to look at that gorgeous mug that you beat for us today? Stunning.
But I try to really uncover what I'm going into. Because women are so nervous and they don't know me. But when they're greeted by me or from me, and a lot of times I come to work just very normal girl, neighbor down home. I don't try to overdo it because I don't want them to think that this is every day. And they feel more comfortable, because I think people automatically assume that if you've been on television or they see you as a star in their eyes, that's who they think they're getting. even though they fell in love with that girl. But what they get is a very vulnerable girl too, that uses my trials and my tribulations to talk to them where they're at, and that I have something that I can relate to. I'm happy that I've, lost in love, been bigger and been smaller and been teased and been told that I'm going to hell because my best friend is a gay black man who loves the shit out of me. I've been through a lot of stuff. So having had those moments in my life, I can relate to just about anybody that comes through these doors.
It's your Southern hospitality. Your Southern hospitality, which and because LiviRae is based in Georgia, what's the plus size fashion like in the South? Because I would think that there would be a fairly decent market for plus size clothes in the South.
I'll be honest, unless you are knowing of specialty designers or boutiques that cater, that doesn't have what everyone else has. As far as fashion, you may have something that someone else has, but I have a lot of girlfriends here who are stylists, and they do a lot of upcycling, a lot of sourcing, a lot of clothing exchanges, and there's a very tight circle within the fuller figured community of women who refer each other and also know the brands that cater to that fun fashion. But it's not as great as you would think. And sometimes it's a kept secret as far as like what works and what doesn't. I don't think we're a kept secret, because everything that you put on underneath can determine what it looks like on the outside. And with foundation first, I have been very blessed to have a loyal community of women where that any conversation pops up, go see Molly. They also know that I can alter clothes, I can take stuff in, I can make things bigger, I do custom work. That's not super advertised because I'm so busy consulting and fitting, but I do that as well. But I've also aligned myself with brands that work for me, because my bust is 52 inch around, but I'm a 34 underneath. So I'm what I call an in-betweener. I'm not super full figured, but in terms of standard sizing, I am, because I'm double digits up, 14 and whatever. But I just try to make a known who does what and share that information. And because people trust me, I also help other brands get that client. So, but I know who works well. Georgia is it's still kind of slow in the fashion lane. So a lot of these girls are still ordering online or working with like Jabri, your Eloquise, your Reb Dolls, people like that do have curvy chic, city chic. Like there's a lot of brands that do have, but it's not based here. Still a lot of online shopping.
Yeah. That's what attracts for what I've experienced for myself. Like I'm not, similar to yourself, I'm not exactly the largest person around, but I'm already in a 2X, which means that everything has already dropped to a minimum of what is available in standard sizing, because once you go past a 1X, done. It's outlet shopping. It's relegated to looking at stuff online. And you're right, like it can make things so challenging to try to find the right things. But I love, and as we're exploring in this series, talking to people like yourself, it's uncovering the notion that within the plus size community, there is such like an interconnectedness of people who trust one another, that real sense of genuine community that helps to support people and get them access to the things that they need. I do want to take it back a bit though. Like when you were growing up, I believe like you went to school for music on a vocal and piano scholarship, is that right?
I did. I sure did.
You did. Well, listen, I want to know, like, what was your relationship like with music and creativity growing up?
So growing up, obviously we were in the church. My grandmother played piano, and my mother's family, that was on my father's side, but my mother's family were all very musical. So that's what we did. We would go to church, we would do musicals, we would sit around at holiday time and everyone would play an instrument. And we bonded through really old-timey gospel music, and that was how we showed love. We ate, we had music. Praise and worship for me was very much involved with the musical aspect of it. And everyone would always say, you know, that's part of the big girl thing. Oh, she's a big girl, but ooh, have you heard that girl sing, you know, or whatever. And I always got picked for these things. And when I was in school, it came easy to me. So when I wanted to go to college and we did not have a lot of money, I was accepted into a lot of schools for that, plus my academics. But once I was there, what I truly loved was making clothes from my grandma's scraps, because she was a master tailor, and her teaching me how to take in bras. And I always knew that I wanted to make swimsuits, because when I would go on trips, I never had suits like my friends, and I always felt like I was in the old lady bathing suit, and I would cover up with a white tee and wear it across my bathing suits because there was never anything cute. And interestingly enough, that spiritual connection that I've had with this, my grandma came to see me in a dream. She said, leave. I wanted to leave because it wasn't fun for me anymore. It was too hard. The technical mechanics of school and being in a music program and having to do all the things, I got so freaking stressed. And so she came to see me and said, you're going to go to fashion school. You're going to have my sewing machine. And I was like, how am I going to do that? It's private. There's no money for that. And she even told me what I was going to do. And then I was going to write an essay on how hard it was for me to find clothes, bras, bathing suits growing up, and that they were going to give me money. And I was going to be able to go to a private art school by writing this essay. Like, as clear as I'm talking to you, that's what happened. And so that same power of spirit and energy and things. And my grandmother was a tiny woman with humongous boobs who just happened to always sew her own clothes. And that's what happened. So, but music is still very much a wonderful part of my life. I love going and meeting with other students. And I write a lot. I've done a couple conventions for songwriters, because what's in my head has to come out some way. And a lot of times it's through pen and pad, and I'll still sit down and do some beats here and there, you know, but it's just not there still. But I loved it. It's music ties a lot of people together as well.
So when you shifted to fashion and you started creating your pieces and you focus on lingerie, what is it about lingerie? Is it because is it like a realm where you can be the most creative, the most fun, the most wacky, the most expressive?
Well, in true spirit, I went to school and I started doing specialty swim because I always wanted bathing suits. But I also knew that there were other brands from the UK that went past a double D, that the alphabet did not end there when actually it started there. And over time, women have gotten larger with their breasts for many reasons. A, because we consume a lot of processed foods, but also the hormones that are put into chicken that we mass consume. It's going straight to young girls' breasts, so they grow. But I always saw these ads growing up, and I think for me, again, we've always identified that if you're a Victoria's Secret model, you're sexy. So I loved the color options and the fabric and the embroidery that came in lingerie, because I had never had anything that wasn't a black or white 18-hour Playtex bra out of a box. So I worked a little stint there for holiday, and I was like, I don't care if it doesn't fit. I love it. I'm going to make it work. And I think that learning to love myself, and not even from a sexual perspective, just again, that your undergarments can be your superhero cape. And if your breasts are up and your waist is in and you're wearing a hot purple or red lace up, I mean, I've got one on my desk right now. Like, would you rather have an 18-hour Playtex, or would you rather have some strappy, sensational, sexy, and then your back shows? I found brands that could do that, and I was making it for myself. And not only that, when I was in school, I needed to make money, and I wasn't sure how I would do that, but I had scraps. I met a couple dancers. So the same way those boys was hustling their cassette tapes out of the trunk of their car to get famous, like Outkast and all these Atlanta rappers, I was slinging breakaway thongs to dancers because I knew how to make them.
You were selling bras and panties out of your trunk.
Selling lingerie for dancers because
Yeah.
that was in like 96. So let's take it back. Everybody, wanted their own style or their own thing. And when you've just got some remnants of elastic and a little fabric, you can come up. It's the come up truck because you can make a pair of thongs for the low. And it didn't take me but 5 minutes to zoop. Hey girl, $10.
Whip it up and put it together. Now, Tim, what were you selling out of your trunk back in 1996?
Oh, God. In 1996, I was in high school, so I wasn't selling anything.
Fair. I won't say what I was doing in
I
1996.
was about to say, you're even younger.
But again, growing up and when Christmas came around and we were always given this thick, like this thick, JCPenney's catalog, and we had to circle what we wanted for Christmas. I always saw these beautiful dresses and these beautiful underwear, and coming from hand-me-downs and Laura Ingalls Wilder up to the neck wool with itchy lace collar because you were not supposed to expose yourself because it wasn't the men's fault that they wanted to inappropriately touch you. It was your fault for throwing it out there. We were covered. And I'm like, all these fabrics were exciting to me. And I used to watch old movies and I would see like, the Parisian lingerie and all this stuff. And I'm like, I never even thought about it as something for sex or to be sexy. I just thought it was stunning. And I appreciated the craftsmanship that went into these quality undergarments, just like a tailored man's suit, or people that have their own personal tailor. Because I saw my grandma doing that for people who had a lot of money. So I wanted to be an undergarment expert to make beautiful clothes look great, but also to dress women. And it's your first layer. I mean, if your foundation's not strong, whether it's through your spirituality, religion, or your house, it's gonna crack. And what we wear underneath is literally can send subliminal messaging. Because I can promise you, there's been many a day I've went into a room full of, stiff white men that thought I was ignorant because I'm a woman from the South. And I wanted to say, okay, I'm about to crush you because I have on a hot red lace-up bra that's sexy as all get out and panties.
So it was a little bit Joan Crawford and Mummy Dearest, like the Pepsi scene where she's like in the boardroom and she's letting them know, like, don't fuck with me, fellas. I've dealt with bigger monsters for years in Hollywood. I know how to win the hard way. Like, let them have it.
And the thing is, I give that to these women as well because they're like, oh, I've never. I'm like, why not? The oldest client I ever fit was 108 years old and she asked me for a red bra.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic.
So you can. We don't have to be stuck in this smooth, nude society because we're colorful people. And lingerie has so many connotations. Maybe I just want to sit at home and they're like, I don't have anybody to wear it for. I'm like, love going to the bathroom and realizing that my panties match my bra today. Like, that's the little thing that.
Well, if you don't have anyone to wear them for, then just put it on and order pizza and answer the door like that.
Exactly. Or sit on your porch and sip your tea and read your Harlequin romance and whatever. Yeah. I love it. It changes. And when you sleep in wonderful pajamas, I don't sleep in anything because I'm too freaking hot. Menopause is a bitch. But like, if I want it to feel good. And I feel like it helps with your sleep because you're in something that's fabulous. And I wanted a safe space too for boys that love boys or people who are trans clients. I build a boob and I also do binders.
Yeah, as queer people, we got adult money, honey.
Exactly.
I like to spend my adult doll hairs, and maybe I want a pair of lace panties. You don't know me, but you're absolutely right. Everyone needs a space to get what they need, and I love that you reference, our trans brothers and sisters, people who might need binders, people who might need the Build-A-Boo, people who might need, and again, we've said this about you, you've got this just warm, energy, that idea that, a nervous trans kid might come to you and think, God, I don't know if this person's going to really know how to help me. And you come in and you go, I've got everything you need. What do you need? Walk with me through this. We're going to get you set up. And, especially at a time in our world when things are not looking too great for our trans brothers and sisters, it warms my heart to know that we have someone really doing the ally work. And actually, that's a really good thing to bring up, because I know that you have done pieces for drag artists in the past, which I thought was really, really cool. And, I was thinking about asking, what really leads to this sense of, allyship for yourself? But you've really talked about that here today, that sense of, you see yourself in all the othered peoples who go through these different experiences, and you just want to love on them, give them what they need to help them shine a little brighter. And again, as two queer men types sitting here on this pod, it's gold. It's fabulous to hear that from someone. So thank you. Really, thank you.
Well, I also think too, if you're like me, or you went somewhere, or like you guys, and you've been to these stores and there's a corner or a rack, or they're like, what I've heard for 20 years, I came here because I went there, and they're like, oh, we don't have anything for you.
Let me check in the back. Maybe we've got this.
And when I hear this, it breaks my heart. And I want people to know, if we don't, that's not what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, you're custom. And it's okay to be custom. Custom is worth a lot. And so I'm in those moments able to let them know that by them coming here and needing me, it also allows me to serve in my gifts. Just had a girl last week or 2 weeks ago. She said, I'm sorry it's so last minute, but I'm headed to FatCon and I want to do this photo shoot, and we're all going to be doing a boudoir type photo shoot. And she said, I thought about who can help me with something that I'm gonna love, because I can't buy anything off the shelf. And I was nervous, not because she's more full figured than most women that I've styled for, but I knew that I've never physically been in her presence. And so I'm gonna have to rely on my innate ability to look at someone, ask a couple measurement questions, and then create something spectacular that not only is going to fit her, but also that she's going to love. But that was never the issue. That was my own insecurity, because she loves herself. And I forgot to ask one particular measurement, which was, waist, but also hip depth. And I remembered her telling me what she typically wears in pants. And I thought, I'm just going to Google it, and then I'm going to pray about it. And I'm going to hope that the inches that it says it is exactly what it needs to be. And then I was like, Molly, you got this. The fabric is stretchy, so if I make it a little bit smaller, it's going to stretch. Because my fear was that I was going to make it too big. And I didn't want to have it be too big and her think that I thought she was larger than she was. So I was doubting myself in the moment. But we got the pictures, and I got behind the scenes, and it fit like a dream. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, I can't wait to share this with the world and share how this came about. And I knew then that I have a very special gift, but I'm also in a space where people trust me and allow me to serve in that capacity. Because if it wasn't for people, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm supposed to be doing while I'm here on this earth. And I just got cold chills all over again, because I'm like, holy shit, she looks amazing.
Girl, you just gave me goosebumps talking about all this. I'm like, there's something.
Wait, when I get these pictures back, I'm going to show you. But I was like, girl, you did that. I mean, because it's different video chat. I mean, we look different through this. And then, I am very visual, and I can remember and recall, and I've done that a lot with shows I've done. I mean, I went to the District of Curves. There's girls there I've never fit. And when they send me their comp card measurements, or they're like, oh, I'm a 40C. I'm like, no, girl. No, you're a G, J, L. Come on. Them titties is not C. If I can see it, it ain't C.
I was curious to ask a little bit about business development, because I feel like there are a lot of people, especially these days, really wanting to get the hustle on, really wanting to, step into plus size, whatever industry, right? And trying to find their way and like make it and do all the things. I want to ask for you, like on a personal level, what was like the biggest aspect of business development, personal development that you really had to get your head around to really go for it and get to where you're at now?
That failure is an option, but it's not my option.
Oh,
Because when you live in your God-given talents and you really hone in on what you are supposed to do while you are here, it's not a job, it's my passion, and it's fruitful. And I think a lot of people be like, oh, I want to do this. They're like, why don't you have more stores? And I'm like, I could have more stores. A lot of people have money. They want to open a store, but I'm not going to sell something or give someone the blueprint if they are not equally yoked in their hearts to serve. That is what it is. And for me, it took me a while because we opened, no one would sell to us. I didn't give a damn. I had to go here to go there. I had to find a come up truck. I had to hit up clearance sales, and online business was not really tracking like that. And here I thought I'm going to open a store hella far away from a shop I used to work at because I wanted to help the bigger girls. And I also wanted to do mastectomy products and have silicone breast forms for people that wanted to buy them. And they tried to shut that down. And I was like, it's cool. I'll just keep treading through. We'll do it, because what God laid out the plan for me to do is exactly what I'm going to do. And if I have to get in the damn pits of hell, I'm going to do it. And I think that entrepreneurship is not for the weak. And you said it earlier, it's the hustle. It's the right now. I could be home. I could be with dinner. I could be with the kids. And I think people think after 18 years, oh, you don't have to do this. I work every day that ends in day. I don't leave this up to everybody else. Business owning is not, oh, let me own it and I'm not going to go there. That's not this type of business, because I'm in service. And it's my love language. And it's not just for the people that I do it for. It's for myself, because I need the constant reminder every day that I am the shit. And that it's not arrogance, it's confidence. And I need just as many clients who need me to help me within my inner struggle that's not always cured, because we all go through stuff.
And I tell you right now, listening to this, I feel so edified, like in what we do with our podcast. I'm hearing you talk and I'm just like, this is a word from the universe telling me that yes, no, I'm not crazy. This is what it is. We're on the right path. And again, having these conversations with people who are like, this is the reality. This is the tea. There's so much of that talk about, oh, we're planning to do this. We're fixing to do. Baby, go ahead, do it.
It's putting the real in reality. I mean, the last couple of years were very trying. Having come off of a network show, having been America's sweetheart, and then all of a sudden I didn't make the proper decision to be with someone who was not for me, but people thought that he was. And so you get that backlash. And if you don't have a good constitution about yourself and know what you were built for, it can be a very deep, dark place, even down to, again, when you want to go live or you want to promote your business, which is what we should be doing in a social space. You can't even do that because the trolls are coming. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to let this define me. It's okay. And then I'm going to say, girl, your bra must really suck because you're angry as hell for no reason. You don't know me. I need to help.
Amen. You are our best boutique winner for 2024. And I got to ask you, what does it mean to you to be a part of this broader plus size legacy?
Honestly, I was like excited. We were nominated. And then when I was there, I was just sitting there with my kid, and I was like, when they said my name, I didn't even realize that they said my name, because I'm not competitive, but I'm competitive. But I thought, this is not a competition. This is recognition and accolades from all the different people who know that I'm really out here pushing this incredible narrative to be inclusive. And it's something that made me feel very good, and it made me know that people really understand what Let Us Lift You Up is about and what my Molly on a Mission mantra is. And to be picked amongst people whom I respect, peers that I've worked with, and I've been pushing this pavement since the day we opened.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always was of the belief system, whether it's one, none, or a ton, somebody somewhere is going to get the LiviRae word and they're going to feel better. And I'm going to change someone's life because of this service. And after 18 years, the industry that I've been in and the different people that I've connected really realized that.
Mm.
And I thought, I'm excited. It made me feel good. Like I wanted to cry. Plus, I have my 14-year-old there who she's in that awkward phase where she might be a little bit chunkier, you know, when they're growing and they're coming into their boobies and they're coming into their self and they're not sure where they want to be. And to be around all those positive people and to experience that, and me as her mother right there with me to come, because I could bring my child to that type of event. It made me super proud that she sees her mom being recognized amongst her peers and industry people who are doing the same thing, that we're all moving in tandem to bring a good thing together. And that's why my number one model and muse that I love so much, I'm making a custom burlesque outfit for, who's in LA, that is used to be a very small Filipino man, and now is a voluptuous, amazing, full-figured trans woman that I love beyond measure. And she is so dope, and she is so hot, and she is
Everything.
what I want to look like when I, you know, if my body could came out, it would have been her.
This is a fun question. What food gives you life, and what food brings you peace?
Macaroni and cheese gives me life. I love cheese. Anything with cheese. I have to take probiotics because I'm lactose intolerant, so I can have cheese. And I'm vitamin D deficient. Go figure. I love cheese so much. What food brings me peace? Usually it's any crispy salad that's very healthy, very good with a piece of fish. Because I'm usually eating this really fabulous, light, yummy, fresh seafood when I'm at the beach, and so it's in combination with being on the water, feeling free, clothed but not clothed, getting some sun, and eating fresh coastal seafood or wherever when I'm traveling somewhere foreign. I love trying new things. So, but that gives me peace. But cheese, anything cheesy. If I could just have one food for the rest of my life, it would be cheese.
Because it don't go down easy if it ain't cheesy.
Cheese.
That's right.
Cheese is so good. God damn.
I love cheese. Yeah, cheese.
And what aspects of plus size do you think gets too much shine, and what do we need to see more of?
I think that due to the influx of women who were once very thin but wanting to be thick, having all these BBLs and all this surgery to have this look that they want, I think that gets a lot of shine, and I think that it's not realistic. Granted, I don't knock people who want plastic surgery. I mean, I want my chin a little tucked because I like the way it looks when it's a little tighter, not because I ain't, but you know, I've seen my mama's chin and she's beautiful, but I don't want it to do the talking. But I think that this thing that everybody wants to be thicker or bigger or whatever, I think that, and I think that the other thing that's gotten a lot of shine is someone who made a way in the plus community who is like a Lizzo. I love her. I used to follow her before she was a very, popular person. As a matter of fact, we were asked to style her for J-Lo's Hustler movie because the stylist had no clue what to put Lizzo in if she was going to be in a strip club with lingerie. So,
and they never do.
No.
Constant comments from actresses, comedians, does not fucking matter who. Any kind of thickness, you show up on set and they're like, we don't have hair for you, we don't have makeup for you, we don't have clothes for you, we don't even have chairs for you. And it's like, could you bring this in from home? Like, are we joking? Multi-million-dollar projects, and we can't.
No, you're not joking at all. And they said, we found you on Instagram, we don't know what to do with her. And I'm like, what do you mean? You don't know what to do with her? And she wasn't even like this super overly full-figured woman. She was just a little bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? And it's disgusting that you would even make someone feel like that. Just bring someone in, you know what to do. So they found us. But the problem I have is now with this heightened awareness around her and her stuff, all of a sudden we buy into people because of their brands, because we follow them and not actually the culture of what they're creating. And I think that she has a brand that she's done great to make her money, but I think she could have used that in a much better way, because just because you have shapewear and what you consider sports bras, it does not mean that that's what it is. And I think it's under education when allowing people to create things just because they have a lot of money. I'll say it again, Skims, excellent on the color palette. What does Kim Kardashian know about 4X?
100. Don't continue, baby. Do not sell
No.
tall if this man does not have a stomach, if he does not have a gut. I understand tall obviously has its own proportions. We need to look at that as well. But baby, don't sell me on the big if they ain't big. Like, I got friends with stomachs 50-inch around. I
just made panties for that.
You know, like, why
Literally.
they are tall. I need to know that this is gonna fit. And if it doesn't, then what are we doing here? Like, you can't slap a label on. You can't say this size inclusive when you don't include. This is wild. It's wild. Anyway.
But that's where I'm at. Like, do you really understand what that means? Or you need to find someone who knows and studies. Maybe it is a consumer. Maybe it's someone that understands, like myself, like the varietals of body sizes, and don't just allow someone because they get great at pattern. We get 4X and it might be, no, it's a 4. Like, the cup is me. Like, no, anybody that identifies, I think really understanding what that means. And that's what I think gets so much attention, is because of I've had a show, but I know my shit. Like, I'm not going to ever sell something to someone just to create a sell, because I'm adding insult to injury. If you already thought about yourself a certain kind of way and now there's a tag stuck on it that says this is what it is, we don't do that here. We know if somebody tries to order something online, I'm like, if we've never shopped with us, we need to ask the following questions, because I'm not sending it to you, because I don't want you to try to put it on and be like, I already ordered a 5X and I can't get it on. Like, that's not cool. So I think that we just need to really pay attention to who knows what they're doing and all of that. And I forget what you asked me, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but the other thing too I want to talk about is a lot of times there is a lot of chitter chatter around people's size, and people want to have conversation and be like, oh, they're big, they're so unhealthy, or they're whatever. I know some big girls that are healthier than some of my friends that aren't big. So stop with the nonsense.
The concern
doesn't mean anything. It could, but it could not. And stop saying you're unhealthy. You might have some issues down the road if your joints are on fire, and maybe there's some stuff, but I don't have high cholesterol, and I didn't 40 pounds ago.
It's the manufactured concern that always bothers me. It's like, especially when it's coming from people that you don't really know that well. Certainly not someone that you would consider a close friend, and they just decide to interject this advice to you, and it's like, oh, I'm just concerned. Well, oh, are you really? Why?
No,
I don't know you.
Your business.
Yeah, it's like, it's not. Do we ever hang out? Have I ever spent any time with you? Do I ever text you, call you, any of that stuff? No. Well, then why do you care? What does that have to do with you?
My favorite drag response to that question normally, someone will interject and try to tell you what they think when they don't know you, they don't know the subject. And my favorite response is, listen, honey, I don't come to the corner and slap the cock out of your hand when you're working. Can we keep it profesh? Can we keep it moving? I'm just saying. If I'm not going to bring up your business here. You don't come for me. We can just be polite. We can keep it moving.
so funny that you said that, because I was just thinking about one of my friends, Kevin. We've been friends forever. And he was like, yeah, this old broad, he's a nurse. And he was like, she told me, I'm so concerned you don't get any cardio. And he said, you have no idea how high my heart rate goes when I'm in the shower with the soap, stroking it just as fast as I can.
Perfect response.
Seriously.
Oh my goodness.
And he is hysterical, and he's like, girl, people just whatever. He's like, no, I don't got time for that. Like, no, you don't know.
That is fantastic. And honestly, I think that is a perfect way to segue into our last question for this conversation today. Molly, this has been so good. So our final question, what do you have coming next, and what is the big thing that you're wanting for the future?
So I will be in LA doing a pop-up with Parfait, which is one of my brands, and I'm super hopeful that they can see what I can do at their distribution center within a day, and hopefully start doing some opportunity for like the Mary Kay of bras, LiviRae your way. Like, I really want to build more small bra boutiques so that other people, or people who really want a business and really love this industry for very little money, can have a store like this. I think this service should be everywhere. So I'm very mindful of that. And I'm also working on, I'm fully accredited as of this year. So I have my durable medical equipment number. So I want to become the preferred provider in my state first, and then expand to help women post-surgically after breast cancer, and men with garments and or prosthetics and all the things they need. And a subsidiary of this called Grace Wellness, which is Georgia Reconstruction and Care Experience, is going to open. And I just want to save the world one cup at a time, and have fun doing it, and bring, what I can do for someone, that whole let us lift you up mantra. So that's where I'm at, on a mission, and just going to keep going until not. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Molly, thank you so much for this conversation today. This was an absolute hoot and a holler. You are a true delight, and I hope you have just brightened up our evenings like nothing else. So thank you so much for today's conversation.
You need to send me your address, because we sell a beard kit here. My guy, he does Wham Bam Beard Balm, and it's got the roller and all the stuff, and it's so incredible, and it smells dreamy.
Oh man, we'll have to be in touch for this, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and I could send you some menagerie.
Listen, if you ever need a male figure to be dressing up in a lace panty, you need a little photo shoot done to be like, and it looks great on a man too, you let me know, and I shall snap some little boudoir photos and send them right on over to you. That's
menagerie. I'm about it. I'm about that life.
Oh, fantastic. Now, where can people find you online?
Obviously, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we have a website, Facebook, anything that is LiviRae Lingerie, LiVIRAE Lingerie. There you'll find me. I would say Molly Hopkins, but for some reason Instagram has associated Molly with the use or sale of illegal drugs. So sometimes when you look me up, I come up as Molly, and I just tell them I'm a drug. I levitate you. It's fine.
I mean, well, I think we're addicted to you after today, so that's perfectly fine in my opinion. But I think that is a wrap for now here with this week's Full Figured interview. You can find me on Instagram at Stanham.
And you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at thiccmouse.
Now, please like this video, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Subscribe to the channel. Comment below. Let us know what you thought about today's conversation. Share the video with your friends and encourage them to tune in next week, where we'll be speaking with more full-figured excellence right here on the channel. And until then, have a great week.